Hey everyone. It looks a bit dark, doesn't it? That's not good. But anyway, we'll deal with what we've got. So I just wanted to do a quick video because I got fish and chips last night. Now, that may not sound like something that's worthy of doing a quick video, but what happened was I went to get my fish and chips, ordered my fish and chips. I had to do some grocery shopping as well. So as soon as I'd ordered, ducked down to the grocery shop, got what I needed to, came back, and as I got back, they had just put my order down on the table. They looked up and saw me and said, "Oh, that was great timing." And I was like, "Thank you." And as I was walking away, I felt like the Holy Spirit said, "Hear that." And I remembered all these different times when people had said to me, "You're so good with timing. Your timing is so good." So sometimes in business, they had said it. Sometimes I do a bit of stand-up comedy, and timing is crucial for that. So they'd said it then. But just in life as well, I'd be praying for people and they go, "Oh, that was such good timing." And so I wanted to make a video about timing. If you've listened to me before, you'll know that I like making biblical content with different lenses. It's like an optometrist. I don't know if you've been to the optometrist recently, but what they do essentially to describe your current eyesight and to prescribe what lenses you should have is they put you and a chart in the same room. I think it's called a Snellen chart, and it has different text sizes on it, different font sizes, from large to small on the lower line. And they ask you to read the lowest line you can without any glasses. And then they put a machine between you and the chart. It's called a phoropter. And what this machine does is it allows the optometrist to place different lenses between your eyes and what you're looking at. So you don't change, your eyes don't change, the chart doesn't change, but the way you see radically changes because of these lenses. So sometimes it might be a green lens on your left eye and a red lens on your right eye, or a lens that magnifies things on your left eye and a lens that makes things look smaller on your right eye. And they'll come to a combination of how you see that chart that's 20 feet or 6 meters away. But it's the lenses that are doing all the work. So I like to leave you the same and leave the Bible the same, but put a lens in between that helps you see it completely differently. And the lens that I want to talk about today is time or timing. And so one of the examples of timing, practical timing, that I had over the last couple of years with the COVID pandemic is shopping. I've changed my shopping. A lot of people went online shopping, but where I live, it wasn't available to get deliveries at the time. It was only people who were vulnerable or sick or had COVID that could get it. Everyone else had to do their shopping in person. So I decided I would go really late at night, like just before the store closes. And that did a couple of things. By shifting the time that I did the shopping, I still did it at the same place, bought the same thing, spent the same money, spent the same petrol, went in the same car. Everything else was the same except for the time. So that's all I had changed. But what I found was it really changed what I could buy and when I could buy it. So, for example, toilet paper was in really short supply for a lot of the pandemic. But I went just before the store closed, and the shelves were pretty much fully stocked just before the stores closed. So I could get toilet paper really easily. So it changed some of the results I was getting, even though nothing had changed except for the time. It also meant that I could get in and get out really speedily. It was so quick. There was no one else around. I could get a parking spot straight away. I could get to the shelves really quickly. I could get through the cashiers really quickly. It was just, it really speeded up my results. And also, it meant that there were less people around, so I had less risk of infection. The biggest risk to my life at the time, the life and death risk, was COVID, and I could substantially reduce that risk of death or infection or illness, being in hospital, being in intensive care, being on a ventilator, any of those things, I could substantially reduce and increase my chances of having a better life by going at a time when there weren't that many people around. And also I wore a mask and did the QR check-in and those sorts of things. But just by shifting the time, it gave me an advantage that I wouldn't get otherwise. So timing can have a really big impact on your life. The Bible highlights in particular the sons of Issachar and says that they were great at understanding the times. And that was their superpower, that they could understand the times. So what I want to do is look at the Bible, and we're going to ask just one question, one word. And that word is when. And I really encourage you when you're reading the Bible to ask this question, when? 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 And you'll find that the Bible is always answering that question. It's often answering that question. Not always, but pretty much always answering the question of when. When did this happen? It's speaking to you about timing, and you'll start to see it if you just ask that one question, when. So I'm going to put some new lenses on. And we're going to go to Genesis 1, and it starts with in the beginning. So if I was God and I was introducing myself, I wouldn't talk about time. I would talk about how great I am and how you should worship me with chocolate, and you can send it by post at any time. But he doesn't do it. He starts with timing. He says right from the start, he calls the book beginning, Genesis, origin, starting, time zero, in the beginning. It's about time. And it tells us what he did, but then it says that it was morning and it was evening and it was day one. And so they are all timing statements. And all throughout Genesis 1, we're told this happened on day 2 and it was morning and it was evening. And this happened on day 3 and it was evening and it was morning. And all throughout the Bible, you'll see when, but particularly right from the start in the first chapter of Genesis, it's answering this question. When you look at the life of Jesus, it's often described in timing. You know, when will he rise again? On the 3rd day. It says he was around for 40 days after that. And then on the 50th day after that, we had Pentecost. With the feast, it says after 6 days. So there's often things about timing. Even his first miracle, his mum comes to him and says, look, there's a problem at this wedding. They've run out of wine. And the first thing he talks about, Jesus doesn't talk about the resources or the wine or the problem or the solution or the people or their needs or anything like that. He says, it's not my time. And you can see from that the first thing that he considers, he doesn't consider the fact that it's an impossibility or that having a problem is even a problem. You know, he's a miracle worker. And he's about to show his first public miracle. But the first thing that he considers is time and timing. And so I want you to be a person who is known for your great timing too, because it doesn't just make things faster for you. It doesn't just make things easier. It makes results available to you that you wouldn't otherwise be able to achieve. And you'll notice as you start doing this, when you're reading the word when, that you'll start dealing with people and with pressure and with problems and with work in the same way. You'll start asking when. So whenever someone says something, you'll start responding when. And some people will be shocked because they're not used to people going, oh, okay. You'll start working from your calendar, not from your inbox or from the telephone. You'll go, okay, what have I got scheduled? What things am I going to do in sequence? And it'll bring an order and a structure to your life that is hardwired to achieve results and to do it in quicker time, obviously, but also easier for you. So I hope that helps you today. Thanks for tuning in, and I'd love you to leave a comment or subscribe, share it with others. That'd be perfect. Thank you very much.